It's going to be Bernard Golko. He's the CEO of QVITI, focusing on neurotechnology and VR in clinical practice in order to support brain recovery and therapy. Bernard has a background in economics, applies his business expertise to health innovation, and also lectures on entrepreneurship in startups at the Polish and Japanese Academy of Information Technology. This is just a very short, brief introduction. We will now give the stage to Dr. Chrisna Ravyse, followed by Bernard Golko, which will then give his presentation. And as Patricia said, at the end, we will have about 15 minutes of time for you to ask questions to our speakers. Feel free to already include them in the chat. And at the end, we will go through your questions. So I will give the stage to Dr. Chrisna Ravyse.
Thank you very much. Now, just to get the text sorted before we start. Please, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Good. Let's get that into presentation mode. And then just one moment. Okay, so I am going to leave it not in presentation mode because I have some challenges, it seems, from this side to navigate. So I'm sorry about that. I didn't update my Teams, but that is sometimes how it is. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chrisna Ravyse from HealthFOX, and it's really such a pleasure to be here to talk to you about a topic that's incredibly close to my heart, mental health in children, and how digital therapeutics, particularly internet-based cognitive behavioral therapy, or ICBT for short, are changing the way in which we are delivering care. So our aim is simple: to make mental health support more personal, accessible, and effective, and to give children the tools they need for an easier tomorrow. Now, there we go. So now, when we talk about ICBT, we are talking about a digital way to deliver the same structured, evidence-based principle as traditional ICBT, just more accessible. Our programs offer 24/7 flexibility, self-paced modules, interactive exercises, and guidance from what we call our digital care masters. These are real therapists who monitor progress and to offer support remotely. We use flag mechanisms to detect when somebody may be struggling and need a little extra help. And this format really keeps engagement high while giving professionals continuous visibility. Now, why does ICBT work in general? So it is, especially for young people, the fact that it is flexible. Sorry, it removes many barriers like travel, stigma. It is scalable, meaning one therapist can support many patients effectively. And it's also deeply personalized. The platform adapts to the child's pace and responses, and it's accessible because it reduces long waiting times, which we often face, and it is always available right there in your pocket. So if you need to write something or get to a guided medication or some breathing exercises to calm down in the moment, it's right there with you. And most importantly, the evidence is clear. ICBT performs as well as face-to-face CBT for anxiety, depression, and ADHD. So it doesn't really replace therapists, but it amplifies their reach. Now, let's have a look at ICBT in Finland as a treatment. So it has become actually a first-line treatment option with mental health care in Finland. The programs run in structured phases over 2 to 4 months with continuous therapist support. Our patients have independent weekly sessions, usually about 1 hour long, and they do it section by section on their own time. This includes the content and completing the exercises daily. Our mental health programs were co-developed with one of the largest university hospitals in Finland, Helsinki University Hospital, and I was happy to see that they're also a partner in this program. And our feedback has been remarkable, both from professionals and from patients. The structure provides flexibility, but also accountability, which helps children and adults stay consistent. Now, what about ICBT in children? So when it comes to children, studies consistently show that ICBT is effective for anxiety, depression, OCD, and even trauma-related conditions. Parental involvement plays a huge role. So parents kind of act as co-therapists, helping reinforce lessons and track progress. And because kids engage best through play and storytelling, programs that use characters, storylines, or game-like tasks like Cool Kids Online or Brave Online show particularly strong results. It is ultimately therapy, but in a format that feels safe, familiar, and even fun. Now, one of our biggest and proudest achievement is the HealthFOX Social Anxiety Program, co-developed with our clinical partner HUS. It is a CE-marked digital therapeutic designed specifically for adolescents who struggle with social fears. So the program uses a graphic novel format, and you can see the picture there at the bottom. Sorry, I'm on the wrong slide. There you go. You can see the picture of what it looks like. And they also have avatars and voice-over guidance to make the therapy feel more approachable. Teens and preteens complete daily tasks, self-reflection exercises, and journaling while therapists monitor progress in our one snapshot dashboard. It has had over 80% completion rates and increases therapist capacity 14-fold, showing that when digital care is well designed, teens actually stick with it. And this program is currently in use in Finland, both in the Finnish and Swedish language, and we also deployed it in the beginning of this year to Latvia in their young and child psychiatric hospital in the Latvian language. Now, how does ICBT actually support and motivate? What are the key building blocks? So first of all, it has personalized feedback. Even though the therapy is digital, there's always a human touch behind it. Our therapists, our digital care masters offer engagement, encouragement, and it really makes patients feel supported and understood. And it's that personal element that makes digital care feel real and connected. The feedback loops, of course, also help build trust and confidence, so patients don't feel like they're working through therapy alone. And then we have progress tracking. Every task and questionnaire inside HealthFOX is structured to show progress visually through dashboards, completion bars, and small milestones. And this is a powerful tool, especially for children and teens. When they can see their progress, it reinforces positive behavior and gives a sense of achievement. And then finally, accountability. Regular therapy check-ins are key. They help keep patients on track, ensure that setbacks are noticed early, and give encouragement when motivation dips. For children and families, these touch points are what turn a digital pathway into a relationship, something reliable, guided, and safe. So, CBT's foundation in social anxiety is really to help develop real coping skills, managing stress, improving problem solving, and building self-esteem. Children and teens learn how to recognize unhelpful thoughts, manage emotional triggers, and gradually face their fears in a safe, structured steps. It's not just about quick fixes, it's about teaching lifelong tools for emotional regulation. I want to quickly jump back to our adult ADHD here in Finland, and you will see why. I want to just show you how scalable therapy can be. So it's currently one of our first-line options in national care, with about 5,000 patients to date. And it does include young people from the age of about 16. 89% of users support significant improvement, and therapy access has tripled compared to traditional face-to-face models. And these outcomes just prove that digital care isn't just an idea, it's a practical solution that actually works. Now, what about ADHD in children? So this is currently still in development, but this is what the program is going to consist of and already consists of for the elements that are done. So first of all, we start with evaluation. So the evaluation includes digital recording of habits, validated questionnaires from all sources. We get teachers involved, coaches involved, parents involved, as well as professionals to support with a holistic understanding and a more accurate diagnosis. It uses story-based lessons with voiceover so children can read and listen along. There are small daily tasks like checklists and reward loops that help build consistent routines. Parents get coaching on how to create structure and positive reinforcement at home. And we're also integrating wearables, like for instance, smartwatches. So if a child loses focus, the device gently vibrates to suggest a brain break with movement or stretching before returning to the task. And of course, mini games to keep the motivation alive. But as we all know, there are a more holistic approach to care. And that is what we do in HealthFOX. We try and treat the whole person. So we have definitely included nutrition. So just as a quick summary, that it is well reported that omega-3 support brain health, and deficiencies in zinc, iron, and magnesium can, for instance, worsen symptoms. And there are certain additives and colorants that can increase hyperactivity in sensitive kids, whereas a balanced protein-rich meal help maintain focus and energy. And that is why our ADHD pathway, for instance, includes nutritional tips, family meal plans, and micronutrient tracking, all built right into the platform. When families address lifestyle and structure together, outcomes improve dramatically. Now, what is the future for kids? So we're already expanding to other critical areas for children specifically. And our future program focus on emotional regulation, self-harm prevention, not for suicidality, but for challenges like cutting, substance abuse, and also social pressure. And we're developing a trauma program for youth exposed to stress, violence, or any instability. Our goal is really to help children and teens build self-awareness, resilience, and healthier coping strategies before the problems actually escalate. Now, here's just a quick look of what it actually looks like in action. So this is from our social anxiety on the application. So on the left, you can see how users access their daily tasks. Simple, structured, easy to follow. The clear icons and progress markers help children, especially those with ADHD, to stay organized and motivated. In the middle is the content focuses on learning. Here, recognizing anxiety, provoking situations. It's written in a friendly language, often paired with short graphic stories to keep the users engaged. And then on the right-hand side, you can see how reflection tasks work. They write about their own experiences. Sometimes it's just quick questions that they answer to really help them to connect the lessons into real life. So what does the care process look like? The care process is very simple. Once a patient has received a diagnosis and a treatment decision from a healthcare professional, they register on the HealthFOX app. The therapist monitors the progress, provides feedback, and adjusts the plan as needed. And the patient accesses the education, exercises, and reporting tools, which can be combined with medication or face-to-face therapy. And this hybrid model has been working very effectively in Latvia, especially with the younger patients. And this also gives professionals oversight while empowering patients in the case of children and families to really take ownership of care. So what is the experience that we've received from therapists? This is a very interesting conversation. So at first, it's a different way of working. ICBT focuses more on self-guided help rather than traditional face-to-face sessions. But many therapists have adapted quickly and actually enjoy the balance it brings. It allows them to step back a bit, focus on quality guidance, and let patients take more responsibility for their own progress. And ICBT also helps therapists reach more patients without burning out, giving them a broader impact and, in many cases, greater job satisfaction. So what are the common misconceptions? Because we have those as well. We have learned that professionals are sometimes more resistant and hesitant about digital therapy than patients. Many worry that digital programs could replace therapists. But here's the reality. Mental health needs far outstrip the available workforce. ICBT bridges the gap that we cannot do otherwise. It doesn't replace it, though. So some of the other fears and misconceptions would be that came up, that inadequate training is the core of it. And our training programs that we do together with HUS have shown that once the clinicians understand the data and the results, they become one of our strongest advocates. When professionals believe in digital care, the entire system becomes more efficient and humane. Now, to conclude, I want to just quickly summarize. ICBT for children is already proven. It is effective, engaging, and scalable. It combines behavior, nutrition, and parental support with digital feedback loops and real-time dashboards for clinicians. And more than that, it creates a safe, personalized, and playful environment for learning, growth, and healing. At HealthFOX, that is why we call paving the way for easier tomorrow, helping children not just survive, but truly thrive. And there's just a summary of the list of all the references, and there is even more, and we'll get back to questions later. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Chrisna. Thank you for all the interesting insights. As you said, we will come to questions later. I would then give the word to Bernard Golko, who is going to be our next speaker.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Let me share the screen. Can you see my screen, sorry?
Yes. Yes,
okay. Guys, my name is Bernard Golko. I'm sitting in gloomy Warsaw because actually it's almost raining, so it's not like in Barcelona. I used to live in Barcelona for almost 2 years, but it was a long time ago, so I envy the people who are more down south. Guys, I'm running QVITI. QVITI is no longer startup. We are international company that works in the world of neurorehabilitation, basically, and we leverage what is called neuroscience. What we see and where we are right now, basically, we see that in general, especially in Central European region, the depression among children is overlooked. I'm not sure if you know that at the moment, especially in Poland, even though we have like a great GDP per capita, etc., it's look like the economy is boosting. Still, we struggle with the depression among children. And actually, as far as I know, we are the #1 country in Europe in terms of suicidal attempts ratio among children. So we have at the moment we observe collapse when it comes to the number of available doctors, especially when it comes to the psychiatry, and this is again huge market, unfortunate market that we want to address among other different use cases that we are aiming. Basically, at the moment, we observe that it's like it's obvious for most of us, I think, that at the moment the depression among children, this is something that is booming not only here in CE, but in Europe and other Western civilization countries in general. We observe decreased number of specialists, and they are getting older and older. Actually, I'm wandering from hospitals to hospitals. I'm talking to professors, to people who run such facilities, and while talking to them, I'm becoming to understand that it's not going to be better in foreseeable future. That's why we are aiming to help with how to say this, multiplication of the hands of the specialists, helping bringing the therapy to home. How we do this? Basically, what we are doing, we are working with neurorehabilitation devices as a producer. We are the only producer from Central Europe that managed to build their own neuromodulation certified devices that influence our minds, actually neuroplasticity, and helps not only in the area of depression, but in the area of post-stroke, etc. I will showcase this in a second. What we do, we combine these. So we combine transcranial electric stimulation with immersive personalized VR therapy. So basically, at the end of the day, when we combine both worlds and we are giving not only transcranial stimulation, but we are putting young patient into the right context, because what we can do with the VR, we can create the world that resembles the actual world. So we are putting a person in what is called ecological therapy. So in the right context, when we combine this, we have possibility to create something that was not delivered yet. So we can combine this in a scalable solution that can be given away to a young patient home, yet it is supervised by a doctor. Why we are combining those two technologies? Because basically, at the moment, we already proven, we built, we designed, we built, we certified, and we tested this among different countries, how our device, how transcranial electric stimulation can influence the brain in terms of minimizing the effects of the depression. Until even the level where no longer the pills, the chemistry are needed for a patient. At the moment, we are already in the market with transcranial electric stimulation devices. And this is something that happened like a little bit less than 3 years ago. What we are doing right now, we are developing the virtual reality therapy with a full online supervision by a doctor, but again, remotely. So at the end of next year, it will be possible for us to provide complex therapy that can be taken home by a person, use it at home, being supervised at home, and being and from the perspective of the doctor, being alerted if something goes wrong. At the moment, we are already in several different countries on 4 continents. We are very strong in Japan. We are in United States, Canada, Hong Kong, a couple of other countries. We are working with companies that helps us to sell these devices worldwide from UK. So naturally in UK, we are in most of the research facilities. And the funny story is that actually since prior to building this device, we've been providing third-party solutions for medical research purposes, again, focused only on the brain. We managed to build our own device, and however, we started the sales and our journey towards customers through the medical research market, so most demanding markets, in fact. At the moment, we have certification for multiple use cases like neurological rehabilitation, post-stroke, chronic pain, addictions, migraine, Parkinson, or schizophrenia. But in terms of youngsters, in terms of teenagers, we are focused on depression. Since I'm not going to talk much about the device itself, how it works, how we are doing this transcranial electric stimulation, because this is not the time. If you have any questions later on, I'm more than happy to provide more information. Today, we are to focus on AI and how we are leveraging AI in our therapies. So basically, minding that we are combining those two worlds. We are combining VR with transcranial electric stimulation. We see that in our areas of interest, not only in depression, but in depression in particular, we see that AI may be used, and I will tell in a second where we are using this in naturally early detection and screening. This is what is important because we can prevent the problem from happening. I'm not sure if you are familiar, for example, with Kintsugi platform from United States. They can detect depression in 60 seconds better than 1 hour screening by a professional, and they are doing this by analysis by basically sampling 60 seconds of how we are talking, how we are pronunciating particular words, and they can detect this with a 90% accuracy. Next thing where we believe that AI in terms of depression should be heavily leveraged is the personalized treatment planning. So basically, analyzing the data from different devices, from user behavior, and again, giving extra tools, extra time as well, extra material for the medical professionals to better optimize, to some degree even automate the optimization process of the therapy. Next thing is the digital therapeutics and chatbots. Again, this is something that we see for us in future. We are not doing this right now. Monitoring and relapse prevention, supporting parents and schools, and user experience enhancement. Where we are basically, and what we are doing, we are focused on the early detection. For this, we want to use actually third-party software, third-party databases, and third-party partners, different partners, because again, we see that nowadays it's not only about creating our own proprietary technology that we are doing when it comes to the transcranial electric stimulation or VR, but leveraging the connections and leveraging the partnerships that we currently have on the market. The second thing that we are going to use next year the AI for is the using generative AI to make sure that all the scenarios that we are proposing, that we are building, that we are showing in the VR environment are attractive from the customer perspective, from the patient perspective, because on many occasions our tools are to be used by particular persona for more than 2, 3, 4 months on many occasions. The therapy takes time, we understand this, and based on the user feedback, we will use AI, generative AI in particular, to produce scenarios that are attractive from the perspective of the final users in VR. We see that at the moment we have possibility to build unique ecosystem that will help us to boost not only the user experience, but also will drive us towards the platform that proves the results. How we are doing basically, how we are managing the whole AI optimization platform. We are getting the data from multiple resources. We are getting the data from VR, like for example, we understand the vector of the movement of the head or of the eyes in future, And so we can measure, for example, whether a particular user is bored, is not focused. We can modify the scenario in the real time. We are getting the data from transcranial electric stimulation devices to understand whether there is particular impedance, so whether the current, for example, that is projected through the skin to the brain is whether it's done correctly, whether there is a good connectivity between the electrodes and the skin, whether a particular user or patient is using this correctly, on the whether it's using every single day if necessary, etc. So all of the data is gathered in one place and then visible for the doctor. We keep in the same place QEEG analytics. So before the treatment, before the TES starts, some QEEG data is being gathered in the single place from the perspective of the end user. So the doctor sees what is the activity of the particular parts of the brain, and later on, once the therapy is finished or after 2 or 3 weeks, periodically the QEEG is repeated, and the doctor sees what is the change in the particular part of the brain, whether the activity is boosted, or, for example, in case it's necessary, whether it is lowered by particular percentage. We are gathering the data from particular mobile apps like App Health, for example. This is something that we are working on. So this is not only about gathering the data from our own ecosystem, but also from different sensors that people carry, like the sport bands, to better understand what is the behavior of the patient, and later on how to provide better understanding why particular effects of the therapy happened, what exactly or what was the behavior of the particular patient while being under the treatment. All of the data are being transformed into one data stream and gathered in our cloud data blender, basically. So we keep the data on our own servers, and we are using this to enable for the doctor enable the extra knowledge that can be used for the optimization of the therapy. So we created our own therapy management system where doctors in particular, they keep the data from those different sensors, different environments, where they can add their own data if necessary, where they can keep the calendar and keep the protocols for particular users. So basically, they are remotely managing and monitoring the progress of each individual. Once the therapeutic program is built for particular persona in the TMS, therapy management system, then it's populated to the transcranial electric stimulation devices that can be kept at home, and actually is pushed to the VR to optimize the experience, to optimize the scenarios that people are going through during the therapeutic sessions. Naturally, we are gathering the information from the end devices, so from the transcranial electric stimulation and from the VR devices, and we are pushing this back to our data blender. So later on, this is reused for better optimization. What we see right now is that from the patient perspective, the QVITI platform enables telemedicine therapy. And this is what is most important, because nowadays we see that this is not only about money or access to the doctor, that is like very hard, at least here in Poland, but this is about the logistics. This is about the necessity to travel every single day or every second day from a small town to a big town. As someone needs to help such a person, there needs to be some kind of a caregiver. So on many occasions, on most of the occasions, in fact, this is impossible to provide the therapy that is needed. From the therapist perspective, we are boosting their schedule. So basically, we are multiplying the hands, because we are giving the possibility to build therapeutic programs in a backend system, to hand over the therapy in a form of VR and transcranial electric stimulation devices home, and to supervise these remotely. So basically, from the perspective of therapist, what he does, he sees at the very beginning of the day or at the end of the day, he take a look at the system, and he sees that particular user is either green, yellow, or red. If this is green, it means that everything goes in plan, that the therapy goes well, that the KPIs or the expected KPIs are in line with what is expected. So there is no need to intervene. There's no need to modify anything. Once the user goes from green to yellow, then there is a necessity to take a look at the KPIs, take a look at the data at the backend system, maybe ask the customer or ask the patient to come back to a clinic, maybe to just modify something in the therapeutic program. Last but not least, when the medic is informed that something is wrong, that particular patient is red, then he sees all of the KPIs. He sees, for example, that maybe the patient ceased to use particular device, either VR or TES, or both of them. Maybe such a person needs to be immediately instructed about something, or maybe such a person needs to go back to the doctor. On most of the occasions, our therapy is not replacing the normal therapy, but it's like giving possibility to outsource at least half of this or more to the hands of the remote process. We see nowadays that there is a competition, like a couple of companies, they are doing the same when it comes to the transcranial electric stimulation, the same from the perspective that they are offering possibility to use medical grade devices for transcranial stimulation, alternating current, direct current. However, what is missing basically is the holistic approach and the holistic therapy that can be given to people home. We see that there are VR solutions. There are some solutions when it comes to transcranial electric stimulations. We see that the AI slowly is joining as well from the perspective, especially of analytics. But what is missing right now is the approach where we can give away the ecosystem of the tools supervised by a doctor. User is using this at home while being supervised by a medical algorithms and medical persona if needed. At the moment, guys, we observe, unfortunately, a strong traction from the perspective of the number of issues that is like going up and up on the market. I mean, brain injuries, I mean, depression, I mean, schizophrenia or Parkinson. We are already in the market. As I showed, we are on 4 continents. We are certified when it comes to the possibility to use it in Europe, and we are doing our own clinical trials in United States. And we just started the therapeutic sales. So at the moment where we are in the world of where we believe that we need to build strong educational programs. We need to be visible on events like this. So thank you very much for the organizers that we can be here with you guys today. And if you have any questions or if you see any possibilities for cooperation in the world of neurorehabilitation, let us know. We are more than keen to help. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to both of you. Yes, I see that there are no questions in the chat yet. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself, write them in the... Okay, first question. Otherwise, I'd also have a couple. The first question in the chat is, I would like to know if you have encountered any complications with product certification in the European market, and if you are affected by the AI Act double certification. So I don't know who of you would like to answer that, maybe both of you.
Yes, I think maybe both of us can answer, definitely. So we work closely with an expert in quality regulations. So we don't do any of these ourselves. And what we have found, though, is we just need to clearly define every single of our therapies. So we have got a different MDR classification and qualification for each one of our therapies. They all, of course, MDR classified and then CE marked 1. And now with the AI that we have included, we're moving over to the level 2. And it's not really affecting us. It is really a matter of how do we proposition it and what we do with it. I think what makes it easy for us, and maybe the same for Bernard, but he can comment on that, is the fact that we have got healthcare professionals in the loop at all time. And our AI is just assisting the healthcare professionals in order to give better outcomes and to make better diagnosis. Our AI is not per se changing anything with the patient directly. The healthcare professional always have to verify that. So I think if a product is structured in that way, then it goes through quickly, or at least for us, it was easy.
From my perspective, we are doing both. We are actually migrating from MDD to MDR because we made our certification before the MDR was present. So what we struggle with at the moment is that there are huge queues because everybody's doing this. Everybody needs to migrate from MDD regime to MDR. So the first thing is that it's not easy to cooperate with the partners like if you do not have right relationships with partners like TÜV Nord. Fortunately, we are in this market for a long time, so for us, it's doable. But what we observe on the market is that, especially when there is an AI component, I would say that no one knows what will be the direction and where this will go. Because at the moment, there are no clear policies on when the product needs recertifications once the AI learns something new. So we are using, as Christina, the AI for the same reasons as an extra information layer for the medic, basically for the expert. The expert is always in the loop. We believe that it will go step by step. We are very careful when it comes to the communication to the market, how we are doing the semi-automation process, because on many occasions doctors think that we want to get them out of the equation. We don't want to do this absolutely. We want to multiply their hands, and we want to give them possibility to serve more patients, keeping the same quality, and at the end also making more money from this perspective. Yes, why not? But keeping again the same quality for the patient. We want to use AI for additional reason, for making sure that the experience in the virtual reality is more attractive from the perspective of, for example, different kinds of therapy in the world of post-stroke, for example. At the moment, our focus is, however, the analytical part.
Thank you both so much. Bernard, you've been talking a bit also about what you are planning for the future. Maybe both of you could briefly tell us, looking ahead, what development do you expect in digital rehabilitation and AI-supported healthcare in the future?
If I may, I believe that in the near future we will observe, and this is what is already happening, democratizations, but this is like a small d of the access to particular semi-medical devices. What we observe right now, that everything is kind of easy to copy. It's not a problem. Keeping the quality and making sure that this is safe and secure for the patient, this is when I'm becoming a huge fan of certification. I understand that the process is not correct. Yes, I understand that it takes time and money. However, there needs to be a certain regime that makes sure that there is a quality behind the production of such tools. We observe more and more applications, more and more. This device can be acquired, guys, for 100 euros on Temu or on such a platforms, you know. I'm not sure whether I would put on my head electrical tool without proper classification and proper certification. So I believe that there will be like again huge need of the education on the particular how to use the tools and which tools are basically safe and secure from the perspective of the end user. So for me, this will be the biggest struggle.
When I talk about future, we don't use hardware devices directly, and if we do, we collaborate with partners. So Bernard, I will definitely match up with you a little bit later and see for collaboration points. But in terms of our care pathways, be it cognitive behavior therapy for mental health, because we also serve other clinical areas, personalization is the thing that is becoming more and more prone in future. We are currently involved in a project of generative AI where we are able to personalize therapy even more. And I will quickly give an example. Let's say, for instance, a patient is really struggling with certain things in his or her life. Let's say it's very specifically financial, if we're talking adults now. Then with the fact that AI enables, okay, we keep on talking about finances, the content will be structured in such a way that the example on which I apply the therapy would be based around finances and not more generalized. That it is really personal for the patient. And with kiddos, we are aiming to do the same thing, where we would, for instance, understand what is their interest and hobbies, and then the examples and the exercises would match directly with that. And that we do with, of course, large language models and things like that in our AI thing. Of course, again, at the moment, the immediate future with the certification, like Bernard has said, therapists have to confirm the pathway and have to still confirm that the exercise is correct, because even though we put guardrails in when we develop the AI, we still have to make sure that the human verifies it. I do think at the rate that AI is developing, we will move into a place where many of these things will be automated, that AI would be more trusted and more correct in the output it gives. But how it will affect certification, I don't know. I think certification lags a little bit behind compared to what we do in the real world as businesses. So there's still a little bit of a lag. So for now, we have to fall into the boxes that the certification provides us in order to be able to make sure we keep our MDR and CE mark classifications.
Perfect. Thank you both so much for your answers. Does anyone have another question that they would like to ask? Feel free to unmute yourself or write it in the chat. Otherwise, I think time-wise, we are also coming to the end of the training capsule. So this would be the last chance for any upcoming questions. Otherwise, I'm sure both speakers would also be free if you have any additional questions to reach out. think we
Thank you very
don't.
much, guys.
I think we
No,
don't.
thank you, and thank you for this opportunity from my side. And just, as a side note or a closing remark, we work in various clinical areas. This session specifically was focused on mental health, but we're also busy with mother and child and developmental delays program. So if any of the professionals online today have got anything else that they would like to discuss further, you're welcome to contact us. And yes, and thank you, Bernard. It was very interesting to also hear what you are doing. So thank you for this
Thank you very much,
opportunity
guys.
to meet as well.
Perfect. Thank you both so much. And thank you for having the time today to talk to us and to tell us more about your solutions. I think I would give over to Patricia. I don't know if we have another.
Sure.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, I just will thank you all to all the attendees to join us today, and especially to Chrisna, Bernard, and Natalie for such this interesting meeting today. And so I just want to remind you that we'll be holding next week our Pediatric Innovation Day, and in December we will also preparing another training capsule based on rare diseases. So we will be really happy also to welcome and to join us as well. So thank you. That's all for today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.